You know, there are several moments in that book where you talk about people confronting you at airports,
Yeah.
at parties, and saying the most gross things, the most insensitive things, and you come back to them is sassy but also a little sad. Why should anyone have to explain any aspect of their lives at all or defend it?
I think
Why?
people sometimes, when you're in the celebrity zone, I think people tend to sometimes just not know what to say. Like I feel like when they encounter you, they either tend to overcompensate and say exceptionally polite things, or they'll say the most inappropriate things to you. I think anyone who's been in the celebrity space will tell you that you'll have people come and say the most overfamiliar things to you at times. And sometimes because they think that they own you because you're in their living room on a daily basis, perhaps because of my television exposure, or the fact that one is around and all over the place, they feel they have an ownership over you. And sometimes that allows them to kind of cross the boundary of decency. And they'll say things that are inappropriate. And you'll have to stand there. Sometimes you can give a response back, which sometimes goes over their head, because it's not a straight line answer. And sometimes you use sarcasm, which also sometimes doesn't get a response. Sometimes all you do is just, like Shahrukh told me the other day, that now when people say things, he just nods. Because there's nothing else to say. Sometimes you just nod because people say the most bizarre things, and sometimes it's members of the fraternity, sometimes it's members of the media within the fraternity, sometimes it's random strangers at an airport, and you have to just deal with it. There's nothing you can do. You can't. At least I'm not the guy who's going to start getting into a fight, because I don't think I'll have the ability to handle it if I was at the receiving end. So I just let it pass.
May I share that one moment at the airport, which is in your book, so everyone's going to read it anyway,
Right.
where a person comes up to you, his wife is with him, and he walks up to you and says to you, "So, are you a homo?"
Yeah.
And your response is, "Why? Are you interested?" And I thought that was just fabulous. That's, the aplomb and the tight slap that probably the man warranted.
Well, it was what came out, literally it just came out because I thought it was an exceptionally inappropriate thing. And the wife was clicking a photograph of mine while he was asking me this question. And he asked me, patting me on my back. It wasn't just a car. It was an overfamiliar pat, as if I had, like we had dinner last night, and he decided to ask me this question early in the morning. And it's happened to me. It's also in the book when I was on the launch of a channel, and it was an early morning breakfast interview where I was asked an inappropriate question, and I was completely shocked that we were on national television. Of course, it never made it because they realized that it was completely wrong. Fortunately, it wasn't a live telecast. But sometimes you just wonder whether people just don't have the sensitivity or the decency, or to sometimes use language to ask a question that may not come across inappropriate. There are various ways. I'm a member of the media myself. I host a talk show. And I know sometimes when you want to kind of ask something, you can circumvent it with words and vocabulary. You don't suddenly just go out there and ask in the pretense of being completely candid, or then irreverent or perhaps overfamiliar.